Through the School, written by Gregory Huffman on April 1st, 2014, and narrated by the author on January 15th, 2016. What were mere velleities to a large array of the kids in my school and other schools, and was formerly a velleity to myself, would manifest itself today. I woke up in the same bed, in the same position, just like I did every day. It felt like the movie Groundhog Day, only not quite as worthy. In reality, you have to face the accumulation of disappointments from the previous days, tacked on with the unknown new anxieties that new days, new events, new people with new behaviors, new situations would present. Unpredictability is scary. Groundhog Day applied to reality would be like a video game. Instead of accumulated disappointments, there would only be the accumulation of knowledge and skill. Every day you would be leveling up while your enemy stagnated. You would become a god as long as you had the will to grind it out. I could walk into a library instead of a depression hitting, with the knowledge that I would never live to read all the beautiful thoughts written by all the notable authors. I could repeat the same actions of walking into the library and reading everything eventually without the distraction of responsibilities. I could safely read the philosophical musings of death without being overcome with the thought that these would one day happen to me. Every time I am faced with an appointment to attend, I always assume this appointment will be the end of the world to me. I read books like they are my last. I make it a race. I don't even enjoy them. I just stuff the knowledge into my brain, like a glutton stuffing his face with food in the fear that he will be pried away from it. Today's go, I promised to accomplish, would be no different. Well, in that sense. If this were a video game, this would be the opening cutscene. The fan is spinning. The room is a bit chilly, and the laptop sits in a rotating black office chair next to my bed. I'm up earlier than usual. It is 5 a.m. I usually set the alarm to 5 a.m. anyway, but that is because I like to wake up knowing I don't have to get up, and then I set the alarm to the next 30-minute increment. I wake up at 5:30, look at my alarm, reset the alarm to 6, and repeat the process until it is time to catch the bus at 7. If this were a video game, I would press the pause button on my alarm clock. My nerves wake me out of my listlessness, but I still need to get my adrenaline flowing. I load my computer and type in the password. I'm greeted by the solipsism and narcissism of myself. I see my face and the name under it, Chris White. I search my folders for some Frank Klepacki music from the soundtrack to the Command & Conquer game series that I recently downloaded. It's a shame they don't make real-time strategy games anymore, but capitalism is a poor sight in a country full of morons. I play the music and I imagine myself as an action movie hero in an idealized version of how today's events are going to go down. I edit together a little music video in my imagination. The adrenaline pumps my body full of the motivation it needs. I down a propranolol with the dregs from the soda lying next to my bed. I wonder how inmates could eat their last meal knowing they were about to die. I can't eat on a nervous stomach. My mouth refuses the gesture. I don't really even feel nauseous. I've never puked while nervous. But today, I had started my appetite for my own version of a final meal. I turn off the upbeat track, unplug the laptop, and take it into the adjoining restaurant. It was 5:19. I look up Asian porn. I sift through the thumbnails. Some displayed blurred penises and hairy vaginas from submissive women that were produced in Japan. I find such authenticity gross. I like the mixed American Asians. I like the big tits and asses. I like seeing the big dick stroked and sucked. I masturbate vicariously. At 5:37, I changed the category to Latina, where there were fewer anomalies. Some small tits were a disappointment, but all the asses were juicy. My dick is so sensitive after depriving myself of pleasures for so many days that every tug feels like a bottle of cola that was being squeezed with the liquid rising up to the brim, threatening spill over the edges. I turn on the bathroom fan just for the sound to drown out my vocalizations and the audio. If this were a video game, this scene wouldn't make the cut. It would cause the game to be rated A for adults, and you would have to specially order it because retailers wouldn't carry it in their stores. At 5:54, I stopped paying attention to the girl on screen getting plowed and imagined her as Brandy Miller from school. I imagined what her pussy would feel like, and what any pussy would feel like. I wasn't exceedingly lubricious. I was just a virgin that wanted the experience. I hadn't even kissed a girl. When the idea of her riding my dick formed a mental picture in my head, I almost got too excited, and I watched as a rivulet of semen dripped down the tip of my penis and went under my buttocks. At 6:06, I looked at the local internet escort ads. I decided this is where I was going to finish off. The knowledge that I could call up any of these women and fuck them right now, if I so had the courage, aroused me immensely. At 6:09 I feel the tingling of pleasure ready to burst. The shaft of my penis vacillated from mauve to puce. I am stroking slowly. Stroking slowly is like eating slowly, instead of like a pig. You enjoy it more. My dick becomes as a Roman candle. Sparks explode out, bursting on my thighs. I suppress a primal yell of pleasure into a whisper. I sit on the shitter for a few more moments. If this were a video game, I would press A to perform the event again. Next time, I would have jerked off to ebony women. All decisions lead to buyer's remorse. I sometimes sporadically look up gay porn to see if I have turned gay. It would be cool to be gay. I'd feel like a rebel. Every time I look it up, I see a guy with a beard giving some other guy a blowjob, and I nearly puke. I possess a handful of sperm, and I scoop up the glistening jizz on my thighs to add to the concoction. I stand up and give the gesture of power like the black athletes at the 1968 Olympics, with a dripping hand of semen. I swiftly slash my arm down and open my palm and hear the gooey thwack of semen hitting the tile. The cum is white. The bathroom is white. The family name is white. I don't feel like taking a shower. Besides, if cleanliness is next to godliness, then I would hate to risk a demotion. One time on an episode of Seinfeld, I remember Elaine saying that she thought that women had more artistic bodies than men do. But I disagree. I think attractive women would be easy to craft. Just take 4 globs of fat and put one down for each buttock. Slap the other one on the chest. Other two on the chest. Is that art? Is that technical skill? When describing a man in shape, you even use the word of a sculptor to describe his abs. Chiseled. His arms are complex and defined, and the fat is a sign of laziness, not of beauty. However, you won't find me fucking the works of Monet either. Sexual orientation has nothing to do with that. I rinsed what was left of the ejaculate off my leg, and used a washcloth to make sure my hairs wouldn't be brittle from dried cum the whole day, causing a niggling annoyance to me. I looked in the mirror and recall what Blake once said to me. The only time you'll ever see a pussy is when you look in the mirror. If this were a video game, I would use Game Genie right now. Part of me wants to jack off again. This is the problem with being full, because when you see a delicious meal available in front of you, you regret not being hungry. I go back to my adjoining room and snatch up the closest clothes I can find. I put on socks that don't match, but why does it matter? I'm an equal opportunity employer. As long as they do their job, why should I care what they look like? I don't know what color the pants I put on are, but I know they are slacks. I don't know what shirt I put on, but then I remember I had planned to wear the school uniform today, bearing the school mascot on it. People would possibly think I was being ironic, maybe. Slip on my Velcro shoes and Velcro them up. Why do people still wear laces? It was like using the abacus and mocking those who use calculators for taking advantage of more convenient technology. I put my computer back on my desk. Chris White. Today, I was delivering a gift to my friend Chris. We have similar names, but nothing else in common, really. When a person mentions one of our names, there's never any confusion as to who is being identified. I load the present into the backpack and put in a few extra supplies to share with the class. I fold and slip a piece of paper into my pocket. The present was a surprise for my friend at school, sort of a return present. Then all these thoughts about a friend reminded me. Jonick! I want to talk to my good friend Jonick. Weird name, right? His mother wanted to call him Nick and his father wanted to call him Joe, so they decided to form a portmanteau from the two. But it isn't pronounced Joe Nick, but John Nick. I sent him a text. Sup, gay nigger? We used to go to the same school until I moved. He was an unusual fellow. He was truly black, and he was veritably queer. I've always appreciated the alienated French people in my life, the insane who realize how unbearably sane everyone is, and that you have to have a disorder to cast yourself out from the current order of everything that's so vapid. He calls me up unannounced. No fancy musical ringtone. In fact, no ringing at all. Just the buzzing vibration as my phone floats across my desk alerts me to his call. I answer. I don't give him a chance to greet me as is the usual courtesy and responsibility of the caller and not the callee. What the fuck is going on, man? Good, doing good. Been up all night playing Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne. Ah, man after my own heart. I'm not gay, but facts like this make me wish I was. You're lucky. I have to go to school today. Otherwise, I'd log on and commit a hate crime by owning the shit out of you. I'm supposed to go to school too, but will I? Well, I probably will. I'm not really even tired. Why are you so excited today, you cunt? I don't know. Just am. Right, well. Good times, but I'll talk you up later, palindrome. Right now, I'm playing some 4 versus 4. Peace, homo. He hangs up the phone. I really didn't even have anything to say to him, and he had nothing to say to me. I really don't even know why that all went down. I felt a bit awkward, but then I felt awkward feeling awkward all by myself, so I decided to go into the kitchen. My mother is cleaning the stove with a washcloth, and my father must be in his room. My mother is being her usual taciturn self and doesn't say a word to me as I reach for some banana nut crunch that is on the refrigerator. My father's trying to diet, so he's drinking Slim Fast. However, he has to add gin to stomach it. What is fuel to my father would be a technological breakthrough for the automobile. Pour cereal into it a cup because I don't think I can handle a whole bowlful. Pour in the milk. I'll take a few bites, but my mouth just smashes it up into a debris that clogs my mouth. Spit it in the sink and pour the cup in along with it to wash the detritus down into the pipes. I can't help but have intruding thoughts, reminding me about how much of an asshole my father is. He is the reason I went straight edge. Sometimes I use a marker before school to write SXE on the backs of my hands, even though I sometimes feel like a retard for doing it. It isn't just because he drinks that he is a douche. He is lazy, hateful man-child. He has no motivation to do anything. I wonder how he feels when he wakes up in his bed. Does he have those groundhog moments that I do? Is he even curious? My solipsistic thoughts persist. Sometimes I wonder if anyone is capable of the level of introspection that I am capable of. I wonder if anyone is as smart as me. At other times, I think I'm the stupidest fuck in the world. Can't keep my thoughts straight. I'm a drifter. My mother finally says, "Good morning." I pat her on the back and walk back to my room. It is 7 a.m. already, and I will miss the bus. I turn back to my mother. "Mom, class starts late today. Will you drive me to school around 7:30? "Okay." I can't sit still in my room. I feel like I must move. I must pace. I must perambulate. I need to be closer to my destination. I walk back into the kitchen. "Mom, actually, can you take me now? I should arrive a bit early to do some stuff. I might need to talk to the counselor, Mr. Glenn." "All right, hold on a bit." My father's such a piece of shit. He'll randomly barge into my room while I am doing homework or listening to music, and rant about how the fags keep trying to get married. I don't really even care one way or the other, but I just like reading the news about homosexual rights being expanded just to hear the little bitch squirm. I get more excited about it than Jonick. Jonick doesn't even care about marriage anyway. He thinks the gay community is a misnomer. He thinks the idea of these homosexuals uniting is retarded. It's not a lifestyle. It's just about who you fuck. These assholes need to quit being pussies. There's hardly any real oppression anymore. He hates the flamers. He loves that he can insult them because he is gay as well. It's like a successful black man that can take pride in calling the ghetto ones stupid lazy niggers that need to get a job. What is truth for a black man is a lawsuit and a firing for a white man. I am pacing around my room with my heavy backpack on, waiting for my mother to get ready. Adrenaline pumps through me still. I should have put some music on. "I'm ready. You ready?" she calls out. I feel a surge of butterflies go through my gut like bats escaping a cave. I walk back into the kitchen to meet her. I pass by my dead brother's room. His name was Jesse. What a stupid fucking name. Seems everyone wants to name their kid that now. You have girls named Jessie too. Then again, I guess the name Chris is androgynous too. Jesse was one of the few people whom I once told all my goals to. What I hoped to achieve I had told him about. He probably thought I was incapable of displaying that kind of courage, but if there was an afterlife and that afterlife has the power to view this world, then he would see. And when I think about him watching me masturbate in the restroom, and then I think about him watching me masturbate in the restroom, I should be embarrassed, but I know there is no God, and if there is an afterlife, it isn't like anything we could possibly imagine. I get in the passenger seat, and my mom gets in and starts the car up. She hates to drive. It must be her who I get my anxiety from. The car exits the driveway. If this were a video game, this would be the loading screen. I wonder what I was missing on the bus today. Blake probably insulted all the goth kids that got on. He probably called Lana Germani a skanky bitch again. He was probably wondering why he wasn't on the bus with them so he could tell me how much I stink for not taking a fucking shower. He was probably calling Jake a fat fuck. He probably threatened to punch someone. He probably threw shit at people while they were minding their own business. One time an older classmate scared Blake by telling him he would puncture his fucking skull with a pen if he didn't shut the fuck up. That was a good day. He graduated, and now we have no bus guardian anymore. I'm glad I'm in the car. I'm glad my mother is so laconic. I'm glad I'm not listening to the radio. If you can't enjoy being by yourself, you're in bad company. "Mom, can we stop by the store?" We pull up at the gas station. I see some of the kids from school there, but I don't know who they are. I don't normally feel too anxious to enter the store with these peace disruptors out and about. But what harm can a man do by spitting on your shit sandwich? I walk in and no one says anything. I'm looking for beverages only. I won't eat all day. I notice an attractive girl from school behind me. I fear being spotted if I glance at her ass, so I rely on my peripheral vision. I wonder what it would feel like if everyone died right now except for me and her. Would I rape her if no one was there to stop me? I imagine how good it would feel to bend her over the counter of that store in a post-apocalyptic world where the kudzu vines are running up the doors of the entrance, where no one cares. I wonder how her pussy would feel. I wish I could just squeeze her ass at least, just to know. I grab a yoo-hoo and a Big Red for later. I get back in the car and drink my yoo-hoo. I am almost to school now. I see some people walking around school, mostly those attending, but also people that just seem to be going on a walk for exercise or enjoyment. I see a parent with her two daughters. I look at one of the daughters and I start to wonder about where she will be in 5 years. What will she do with her life? What will she see? What will be her life story? She will have passed by me and not even known that I thought about her at all. We were two souls passing by each other in parallel lines that would not intersect, throwing each other's lives in new directions. This will just be a Tuesday to her. Or, what is today, actually? I don't even remember what day of the week it is. What month is it? I get out of the car, dropping my empty drink in the floorboard, and wave bye to my mother. I throw my laden backpack over my shoulders and decide to perambulate the schoolyard. The name of the school was F.E. High School. Sometimes I would tell people the name of the school when they asked where I attended, and they would say, "Did you say F.U. High School?" I passed by the track team and watched them for a minute. Why are the physical education teachers always so fucking fat? If a bear were to come out of the woods right now and go on a rampage, he would be the one to get eaten. I hate my father. He is a fat fuck. He is a religious nut. He talks shit about people behind their backs. He tells me horrible things about people that he claims are his friends behind their backs. He eats slimy hot dogs out of the package. He has no taste. He has no intelligence. He has no class. He has no job. He pawns shit we own to buy wine with. He eats sandwich cheese out of the package, and then there's nothing to make sandwiches with. He is paranoid. He got gas caps that lock so people wouldn't siphon his gas. He bought a female dog so that the two males we owned would stop living in sin. I noticed some girls running around the track, and I envisioned myself walking up to them and squeezing all of their tits. I just want to know what they feel like. I don't mean any disrespect. I almost want to masturbate again. I paced around the perimeter some more, enjoying the scenery, so to speak. We have a school garden. Do you think a man put to death in Egypt would have been able to perceive the aesthetic pleasures of the pyramids and all of their splendor on his trip to the gallows? I stop at the school garden for a moment and give a perfunctory glance about. The door opens as I am making my way towards the school. It is Blake. He is clean cut, freshly shaven. He has a matching school uniform like mine with that big silly bird on it. His hair is brunette and looks like a tidal wave ready to break on the beach. He glances at me and smirks. If this were a video game, I would create a save point here to pursue an alternate course on a later playthrough. He seems to be making his way to the track field. Did he have friends there? A girlfriend? Was he on the track team himself? Why did I care? I bet his parents were rich. I bet they were soulless robots. I bet they believed in God. My father believes in God. I start to feel like a cliche fuck. I would be that type of boy who hates his father, that silly angsty fuck. They would say I was only an atheist because of him. But that isn't true. I became an atheist while I was still on good terms with my father, for either he changed or I realized what was always there. I can't keep my thoughts straight. I need to concentrate. I've forgotten all about my friend Chris. It was very disrespectful after I carried the gifts Chris bestowed on me. I owed Chris one for all my friends had done for me. Chris gave me the courage to live up to that dream I had always dreamed. You know, I've been so quiet in school that kids almost call me the serial killer as a nickname. I thought it was cool at first. Then people started treating me like I was a malicious person. I knew I could never be a serial killer. Serial killers don't have nervous reactions or anxiety. Trust me, I've read about them. Signs of being a serial killer are poor childhood, animal torture, peeing in bed, pyromania. I'm afraid of fire and it makes me nervous. I love animals, except the dogs we have at home always get hair all over my clothes, and it's gross. Think I might have pissed the bed once or twice, but doesn't every kid? My childhood wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't too bad. I lived in poverty for a while. We once lived at a house that had no electricity and we had to steal it from the neighbors. My first memory was I was in a stroller and my mother was robbed at gunpoint. My mother didn't think I remembered it, but I did. I'm told kids with Asperger's sometimes have good memories like that. Some serial killers blame their mothers when they had lousy, abusive dads. It was a form of blaming the victim because they felt she should have been there for them, and that she was betraying them, whereas they expected the father as an enemy. I didn't blame my mother, though, but I just don't know what she saw in him. My next memory is asking my mother if people died, if he would die one day. She lied to me, told me that some people died, but we would never die. I was never fed that Santa Claus crap, though. I finally entered the building, saw my class door. It had begun already. I walked over to the room, but it was a good walk. I've already forgotten the colors of the flowers in the garden. I can't identify a single one. On the way over, I saw the classroom of Miss Sally. She was one of my favorite teachers. I wish I could have walked in and gave her one of those incapacitating blows like you see in the movies. You just hit a guy once softly in the neck, and he is out cold for an hour. I unzipped my backpack and walked into class. If this were a video game, this would be a checkpoint. The teacher was surprised to see that I was late. I'm usually so punctual. I'm such a good kid. I always have straight A's. I saw Chris staring at me and I approached. I feel the burden of the gift that was placed on me and the compulsion that it made me feel. Chris was wearing the necklace of the school bird around the neck. I amble over to Chris and keep the present a surprise for as long as I can hide it. When I finally put the gift in eyesight of Chris, I smile at the look of surprise and awe I received. I feel the gratitude. I ponder about how some American Indian tribes thought the camera shot would steal their souls from their bodies. I think about how I admired the soul of man. I think about how my shot of Chris would do just the opposite and release the soul from the body. The middle ejaculation approached with great alacrity to mold new orifices while separating the chaff from the wheat. I see the crimson cream of the crop. I hear and see the standing ovation of feet. Clap, clap, clap. I took a bow. I would like to thank God, but I'd hate to take all the credit. Do I really have a God complex? What defines the greatness of God is not the power to destroy, but the power to create. But isn't it said that destruction is sometimes a form of creation? I was trying to be over dramatic, so I stand still for a moment as the crowd split around me, and I waste time on my pensive musing. I spin around and a bang, bang, bang! My aim is terrible. I had only managed to shoot fat, slow Sarah in the back of the head. She landed humorously against the wall with her chin in an awkward position. I would have laughed, but it would have been seen as a cliche evil laugh like the bad guys in one of those hackney action movies, and perception would be everything once this was over. Sarah was the fat PE teacher and I was the bear. If this were a video game, the game would now be rated M for mature. Think about how ironic it is that games are considered for children, yet M-rated games sell successfully, but R-rated movies struggle for survival. She actually wasn't bad looking. She had big tits, but nothing noticed in the ass area. Thought about copying a feel before I left the room, but I didn't want to be labeled as a pervert. I want to be a higher class of villain than that. The way her head was split open, the way her blonde hair laid, almost looked like spaghetti. Grossed me out because I was still in the mood to eat. How could I eat in this kind of state? I took the mascot necklace off of Chris and put it around my neck. I noticed that I actually put a ding in it. When I shot Chris, I must have hit the bird. I walk out of the class and it seemed like the other classes either hadn't gotten the memo or were too terrified to leave their safe havens. I walk into the boys' restroom. Someone was in the first stall. I kick the door and I see one of the biggest nerds in the school, little Jim. He is scrawny, has dorky glasses, funny looking teeth, but sports a 5 o'clock shadow. I think the sight is funny. So the situation is humorous. He tells me to get the fuck out of here while he is shitting. Were his ears bad? I start to notice my tunnel vision. Feel weird and awkward. Take his advice and left him to his throne. Those the words landed Germani blows cats written in a marker on the wall perpendicular to the exit. I get the reference. I hear him say asshole as I walk out and immediately went over to the girl's side. I didn't aim to be popular. In fact, I preferred the benefit of attracting the least attention possible in either the positive or the negative. I detested the idea of popularity intrinsically. I didn't hate the person because they were popular, but the person who desired that state. To be popular meant to prove that you are more worthy of it than your fellow man, so you must denigrate him and relegate him to a lower class of being. You must show your power by making others sufferers. Am I a hypocrite? Is the state a hypocrite when it puts a man to death for killing? There were two girls poker-finding themselves in the mirror. One of them turns and says, "There's a boy in here." I pull up the gun, but it was out of bullets. If this were a video game, the reload time would have been instantaneous. I felt scared myself for a minute, and awkward, like getting caught vulnerable with my pants down and flaccid. The girl nearest to me tries to run out of the restroom, but I kick her in her belly, and she goes down without a fight. I don't understand why some people don't try harder in these situations. The only power of action in life is motivation and will, and you would think I was providing plenty of motivation. And what can a man will if not his own survival? Yet she lay there on the ground helplessly, like learned helplessness. I had read about that in psychology. I also remember reading somewhere that the Jews in the Holocaust didn't give much of a fight either. Was that Viktor Frankl? Luckily I had a knife on me, so I stabbed her in the belly. I think about stabbing her in the face, but it would have been hard to stomach watching such a thing because I live so vicariously. Seeing someone stabbed in the eye would freak me out. I'll live her one more slash across the throat as a courteous coup de grace. I think of a fork being stabbed into a banana split with strawberry topping. The other girl just stands there. So it gave me time to ready the Uzi I had brought along with me. I feel a little less awkward even though there was a delay, but I shoot her so that the other that Sartre talks about would be removed for my convenience. Couldn't bear to be judged on the prowess of my murdering abilities. Didn't you know I was a rookie? How can you expect a perfect performance from less than dilettantes? I wasn't sure what to do next. Mike Tyson said that everyone has a plan till you get punched in the face. I walk out of the girls' restroom brandishing my firearm. If this were a video game, it would be a first-person shooter. When I thought of this, it made me feel cliche because FPS games are way too common these days. I much prefer subtler games. I think of that game called Flower for the PS3 made by that game company. And I remember that level where you paint the fields different colors with the flower petals. Makes me think of Sarah when her blood painted the wall red. There was actually less blood in here than I expected. I guess I watched too many movies. I remember Deadly Premonition was a great game, but it was only a third-person shooter. Francis York Morgan has to be the most likable character in gaming. He is friendly, but not cloyingly like a lot of RPG characters. He also isn't whiny or annoying, nor does he go overboard with emotional reactions to things. On the flip side, he also isn't over-aggressive and douchey like a lot of FPS characters. He is calm, but not boring, and always has something interesting to say, not just about the current plot, but can also reference things like movies and music. Despite his quirky personality and mental instability, he is easy to relate to. He is a character that you can respect the whole way through without giving a single ugh response to corny or cliche dialogue. The game isn't so bad it is bad, good is bad, but the characters are so good you don't care what the gameplay is bad. Isn't that right, Zach? Isn't that right, Chris? I walk outside the girls' bathroom. The students and teachers are sneaking outside like a baseball player trying to steal base. Now that I was the pitcher and I have spotted them, they run for home. I shoot a few shots around me, but I don't go overboard because I don't want to waste bullets. If this were a video game, I would have entered the infinite bullets code. I'm surprised I still remember the code for God mode in Warcraft 2. You activate it by typing in, "Today is a good day to die." Good memories, good times. I noticed one teacher's peeking out of the classroom door. Hesitation is always a disaster. I walk over there and open the door, and everyone's already lined up against the dry erase board. I first say, "Okay, listen up, everyone." Then I feel a bit self-conscious. I feel like it might have been a cliche thing to say. It sounded too much like something an insipid character trying to act like a cool guy would say. I probably would have had a panic attack if it wasn't for the adrenaline dump I was going through. I have to come up with a game. I decided to test them on trivia. I say, "Okay, if you want to survive, you have to answer my questions." I feel like an actor failing his chance to win his role in the movie. I didn't want to sit there pondering what I would ask them, and I wasn't capable of it either with a heart rate like I had. I blurted out, "Who was the 23rd President of the United States?" I had memorized all 44 presidents in order. Technically, it is 43 if you realize that Grover Cleveland served as number 22 and number 24, right there between the number I was asking. The number 23, just like that stupid Jim Carrey movie. I remember Ayn Rand writing about Benjamin Harris in one of her books. He was involved with the Sherman Antitrust Act, or something. I didn't know if the professor would know the answer or not, but I yelled at him, "Not you! No helping! We're going to see how great of a teacher you are." All the students just stand there, some looking at me, some looking down. I feel like they are judging me, like their brains are vaults that are hiding their insults from my visual and aural perception. You think I am ugly. They think I am a loser. They think to themselves, I know that virgin fuck would pull this shit one day. Fuck me, I was being cliche. I start to feel awkward standing there, so I open fire on all of them. The gun clicks, so I pull out my knife and start slashing and stabbing, trying my best to turn off my introspective brain until I was sure that they were all dead. I think I got a full sweep. How many students were there? I began to count, but my adrenaline was ruining my arithmetic. If this were a video game, I would have gotten a high score, got to enter my initials. My initials were COW, which no one would recognize me anyway. They would just think someone was being humorous by putting an animal name or something. Shadow of Destiny was an interesting game. It was all about this time-traveling character trying to solve his own murder. This made me think of Chris for a minute. The main character was such a wimp, though. The beginning cutscenes of each new level would always show how you died that chapter. He would die of the simplest things. The most embarrassing example of this is when someone drops a vase on your head and you die immediately. One of the students, a black girl, wore a cross about her neck. Great, now I'd be triggering a backlash against atheists in the media. I'd be providing a bad image for atheists everywhere. But wasn't God giving a bad message of himself too? Why wasn't he here to stop me from murdering one of his innocent followers? Was it her time to go to heaven? Maybe she was being rewarded by going on eternal vacation. If I were just sending everyone to a better place, then why was I such a bad guy? Teacher was black too. This class actually features quite a bit of black people. I didn't even notice it at first. I'm surprised. Thought of black olives covered in tomato sauce. Great, now it'll also be almost as bad as those fucking white liberals trying to breed an army of angry minorities wearing racism as body armor and guns that fire lawsuits. Fire a black man? Racist. Call a black man an epithet that could be misconstrued? Racist. Use the word niggardly? Racist. Tell them the white pieces and chest move first? Racist. Tell someone you don't like dark meat chicken? Racist. You can't look at a black man anymore without seeing a potential shitstorm of accusations and awkward moments if you try to talk to him or recruit him as your friend. The only philosophical introspection popular with a white man today is, am I a racist or am I not a racist? Yes, it wasn't until I entered this room that I committed a hate crime. Fuck it. What would I care? I can indulge him. I grabbed a marker and went up to the dry erase board and wrote, I am no racist. There is only one race, the human race. Then there is the beast known as the nigger. Maybe I should get my jungle fever out of the way now. I should pile up all the negresses in the corner, have a big Nubian orgy with them. I should have kept one of them alive to suck my cock. I wonder what it would have felt like to be drained via the mouth. The neo-Nazis and the Klansmen and the Stormfront poster would be singing my praise the first day until discovering me as a race traitor and a nigger lover. I think about how I might die a virgin today. I might die a virgin today, but everyone else that was here today would die a virgin as well, because they would never get to experience the excitement of taking a person's life, of spraying brain particles across the walls. They would never get to knife some whore in the restroom until a consciousness ceases to perceive this world. They would experience the unity of bodies, but they would never know the feeling of separating souls from bodies. They would never understand what it would be like to play the role of Janus. They would never get to be gatekeeper for the underworld. I walk out of the room. The halls are empty and peaceful. I have already forgotten what the students in that class looked like and what color their clothes were. I remember only the fact some of them were black, and I remember the image of a crucifix. Surely the cops would be here soon. Maybe they wouldn't rush in right away. Maybe they would be patient. Now that there was no one to shoot at, everything started to feel surreal. My brain started to process things like I was having a dream. Should I go back and fuck those chicks I left in the restroom? It wasn't like I was a necrophiliac. I mean, I'm not interested in cold food, but it was still warm out of the microwave. I wonder what their pussies taste like. I could address them and just admire their bodies. I could rate them in some artistic pattern that would give the news something else to prattle about. I should have tried to find some fags to kill while I was at it. People always called me a pussy. Maybe I could write something witty again, like how fags hate pussies, so I killed them or something. I don't know. I guess I have to think about it, though. But then, when the politicians had their Bloods versus Crips reaction to what I did, the scales would tip in the favor of the Crips with their arguments on gun control, race card playing, and then add this to the list. All the Bloods would be the Christian thing. I decided to walk up the stairs to the cafeteria on the second floor. Today was going to be chicken burger day. One time I was eating a chicken sandwich and I bit into a hair in it. It was long, probably one of the lunch ladies. I pulled all the way out and started eating again, but then the student sitting close by said to me, after that, are you really going to continue eating it? I had spaced out. I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't lose my appetite until that moment. Didn't the Columbine kids try to use bombs that fell in the cafeteria? Bombs aren't as fun. They have less meaning. When you confront someone face to face with a gun, you experience this great moment where they know they are being pulled out of the status quo. They had only expected hand-holding in the halls, drinking beer with friends, talking about cars and the other sex, fucking after prom. But they never expected this moment to show up. What did they think when they woke up that morning? Did they think about how their day was going to be boring? Did they look forward to talking to their friends? What did they eat for breakfast? I wonder where that little girl is right now with her sister and her mother. I bet they were laughing and playing, maybe picking flowers in a field. No, now I'm only thinking in cliches again. I wonder where Jonik was at this moment in time. Did he go to school or was he playing video games? Maybe he was masturbating to gay porn. One time I jerked off while having a gay fantasy about John's cock in my hand. I'm really not gay, but I came to the idea for some reason. If I just shot John, that would have covered me for racism and homophobia. Sometimes I fantasize about sucking a guy's dick in a glory hole. That way I don't have to look at his ugly bearded face or have some awkward moment between us. I just want a stunt cock to test the waters with and see what it's like. Maybe if I shot myself right now, I have the gay hate covered. I could write, I killed myself for being such a fag, my own blood on the floor. It would probably just turn into a bloody blot scratchings that didn't even look like letters or words or anything, though. Well, they bled out and died prematurely. Things never work out like you planned. I walked by my counselor's office, Mr. Glenn. Surely he was long gone by now. I wonder if he was told who the killer was. Sad that I'll never see the reaction on his face when he makes the discovery. I like a movie edited together of everyone I knew, just a close-up of all of their faces when they were told the truth. I just want to see what the reaction is. One time Mr. Glenn gave me a ride home when I missed my bus. I told him about my anxieties and my irrational fears. I told him about how I didn't understand people. I told him I wasn't antisocial, but society seemed to be anti-me. He looked meek, he was balding, had some gray hairs, wore glasses. I liked him, not too intimidating. Seemed like a good choice as a school counselor. One time I farted in his office, he didn't say anything about it. He was on the phone, I felt awkward. Sometimes I wonder how people react to random acts perpetuated against them seemingly out of nowhere. When we see a crazy man dancing on the street, usually just have an awkward silence as we walk by onto our next destination. What if I walk up to someone hanging out with their friends and punch them in the belly? What if I fart in their face? What if I pull up my dick and start pissing on them? How's that reaction go down? I feel like I can't blame people for who they are. I feel like they're just puppets who can't see the strings. I can see my strings, but I don't like where I'm being led. I walk up to the third floor. This is the only school I've seen that is 3 stories. The library's up here. The walls of the library are made of glass, so that you can see the books and the computers from the outside. The library is only crowded when there are people wanting to use the computer for their social media, schoolwork, or whatever else they do with their time. It's a shame no one wants to read. Maybe I don't even like to read, but maybe I'm just forcing myself to be different. When the options between black and white, I don't like my options. The sensible person chooses a shade of gray on the continuum, but I want to be a blue or a green. I want to be a color that doesn't exist yet. Nothing so boring as matching a person's expectations. I hate when people say that there is nothing new under the sun. This might be true of raw materials, but it doesn't hold true for the arrangements made from those materials. The internet itself is a perfect example. If nothing new ever existed under the sun, then every new book would be a plagiarism. Look at the letters on the keyboard. They are the materials under the sun. There isn't much diversity there. The next step up is a dictionary. It is a book containing all the words one could possibly combine these keys into. Now, where is the book that holds every phrase? Where is the book that holds every unique paragraph a man can conceive of? Where are there new philosophers? Every idea has been thought of. The keys on the keyboard remind me of the nucleobases that make up DNA, and the words in the dictionary make me think of strands of DNA. Within this reminds me of Carl Jung's archetypes. I realized how little variety there is among not just the characters that make up fictional tales crafted by man, but among humanity in general. Society needs people like me, even if they don't want to admit it, to keep things exciting. I am the scapegoat. They need me. And they need Hitler. They need a bad guy for their history books. God needs Satan. We need men to feel morally superior to. I am providing a charity. Any bully at this school will feel a bit better about himself now. I am dying for Blake's sins. I reached down and rubbed the bird on my neck between my fingers. I entered the library. I am like a kid in a candy shop. I walk the rows of books. I visit the non-fiction section. I see Dawkins, Hitchens, Hume's, Mlodinow, and Hawking. I see books about the myths of history, about the history of Christianity, about the 100 greatest philosophers of all time. I see books on science, astronomy, and sports. I move on to the fiction sections, only scan when I want to peruse. I see the works of the Marquis de Sade, Alexander Dumas, and Hemingway. I see 1984, To Kill a Mockingbird, We the Living, and The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I mourn the fact that I will never have time to read all of these books. Even if I lived a normal lifetime, I would never get the opportunity anyway. I whip out the suicide note I had placed in my pocket. Why is everyone so mean? Why don't people greet other people when they pass them in the hall? The only time they acknowledge another being's existence is to insult him to gain favor with his friends. And what sort of friends would be excited by such behavior? What made us like this? You will call me a hypocrite, but at least I have the motive of vengeance. What is their motive? Who is the true sadist? We are all victims of nature, I guess, and it is out of their control to change our horrible qualities, even if we can recognize them. But sometimes I think these people are unwilling or unable even to recognize that what they are doing is not right. What I am doing, I wish it would show them the light. I wish they could see that it was here for their reckoning. But while I interpret these moments from my point of view as if I were the protagonist from a revenge tale, most everyone else will interpret it as a horror story. While I interpret the actions they have always committed against me as if I am the underdog in a dramatic tale, they interpret their actions as comedy and thus their laughter. No humans are really able to have a shared vision of the moment, even standing so close to one another. I can't understand these people, and I can't find a meaningful thing to live for other than this denouement. I thought there was a pill to fix it. I thought men had the answer, but I was a kid seeking answers from men desperate for answers. Well, I took their blue pills, but I claimed I wanted the red pill, but no one gets the red pill. Some of us try, but we always either find that it is the palest shade of red or that it was a blue pill all along. I don't hate you all for this, and I'm not sure if I really love you all either, but I want to. But even if I did, I know that love isn't currency to buy a man's soul with. I think you have great souls entrapped in a prison of flesh that courses you into a life of rage, laziness, and cowardice. I wish you were different, but then I also wish I was different. I wish instead of being endowed with determined rage, I was embodied with endurance. But we can't choose the hand we are dealt, and when you get a bad hand, you have to fold your cards, don't you? If the universe is fair, it will deal me a second hand so I can enjoy the poker game we are playing as much as some of my fellow gamblers. But for now, I choose to fold, because I don't want to keep putting my money on the table as I watch it snatched out of me by mendacious men whose only real skill at the game is the luck of the draw. No, I choose to fail on my own terms. I think maybe I should find a pen and write more. I feel like there was much more that needed to be said, but I wasn't sure what I would write down anyway. I wanted to be profound. I wanted to be deep and incisive. Then what were the consolations of being profound? The moment man tries to be deep or says that something is deep, that is the same moment one realizes his remarks are nothing but vapid platitudes. Being a man was meaningless, and the most profound thing a man could talk about was how meaningless everything was. But if man is meaningless, doesn't that mean that a profound thought was inconceivable by definition? I feel like what I wrote was cliche. I feel like shooting up to school was cliche. I was acting my age in a way. I was being the princess that little girls dream about being. I was Cinderella for a day. I was indulging my adolescent fantasy. Who would care anymore anyway? Nothing was shocking anymore. Everything was to be expected. There was no new excitements under the sun. There was no way to be a rebel, but only the pretentiousness of trying to feel like a rebel remained. Serial killers, trite. Child rapists, banal. School shooters, hackneyed. All the crimes had been played out like the sad inevitability and necessity of unweaving the rainbow. I can't decide where to put my suicide note. I either want to slide into the page of Don Quixote or the complete essays of Michel de Montaigne. I decided to go with Montaigne. I didn't put it too close to the middle, because that would look too random. So I put it about 50 pages back from the end of the book. I decided to leave the placement of the note up to men's apophenic sense of interpretation. I think about what the media reaction will be. I imagine my face on the news with the words Chris White under it. The American Dream. The Crips would go on and on about gun control. The Bloods would shout alarmist shit about the dissolution, family values, and video games being murder simulators. Couples would be eating their TV dinners while complaining about the breaking news interrupting their favorite TV shows. And the parents would palaver about how fucked the world was while bitching about the new taxes they didn't want to pay, while fathers nodded in acquiescence as the football game came back on and the image of two men fighting over a ball and colliding into each other, while the bored liberals perused the list of the corpses of potential hate crime to blog about. They were all trying to find a reason to live, but just like their New Year's resolutions, they would give up on it all. We weren't fighting fire with fire, we were fighting apathy with apathy. The motivation was a mere snack. Everyone had weak wills and no discipline. I finally reloaded the pistol. I put the gun to my head. No, I didn't need a profane library like this. I walked into the girls' restroom located in the library. I looked at myself in the mirror. I thought of something Johnny once told me. No one dies a virgin because life fucks us all in the end. I see feet in the reflection. Someone was in the stall. I slowly opened the door to the stall. Brandy Miller. She had long blonde hair and an adorable puffy face. I purposely will myself to remember the clothes she is wearing. A red shirt and dark jeans. The girl I had the biggest crush on, and she must have liked books too. She doesn't say anything. She just sits there looking at me like she has accepted death already. I almost start to imagine what she would look like divested and more, but I stop myself. I see the sacred torture device around her neck. Well, there go our shared interests. Do you believe in God? Yes. This wasn't the time for religious debate. Take it off, I said calmly, but with a sense of intensity. No. Do you believe he will save you now? I don't know. Maybe I'm an agent on his behalf. Maybe I've come to deliver you your reward for all your piousness. I've come to send you to the eternal vacation spot in the sky that will surmount any pleasures or feelings of happiness you can experience here. Do you believe that? She doesn't respond. I point the gun at the crucifix around her neck. I killed a girl today who wore that cross around her neck. If I said I would save you if you handed that necklace to me, will you trust my ability to save you from myself? Or would you choose a necklace as a symbol of your faith that God will intervene on behalf of the preservation of your flesh? She doesn't respond. I take off the school mascot necklace I am bearing. You have 15 seconds. Either replace your pendant with an albatross about your neck as a symbol of your faith in me, or die in the name of your God. She took off her necklace. I drop the gun. She runs out of the restroom. If this were a video game, I would still get the bad ending. This is why I can't be a serial killer. A serial killer can't have these moral scruples. A serial killer must be amoral, whereas I know my actions are immoral. I have a code I know I should live by. I have an ethical system, but I don't have the will or the motivation to live up to it. I'm doing what I'm doing not out of some sick desire to cause pain, but out of some erroneous belief that this will relieve my own pain. This is my own twisted form of vigilante justice. I can show mercy, a serial killer cannot. I can feel pain, a serial killer cannot. I want to live in a better world, a serial killer does not. Were the cops searching the school yet? If this were a video game, I would take them on guns blazing. I would just use a continue after they put me down. The code of the school shooter is always to commit suicide. Suicide is an act of bravery. Suicide is an optimistic look at more than just facing the inevitable future, but jumping to it eagerly as an improvement upon one's current condition. If this were a video game, there would be a way out of this mess. There is always a path that leads to victory in a video game. If you think you are stuck in a trap, you just haven't examined every opportunity properly. I forgot about my Big Red. I pull it out of my pack, open it, and begin sipping. Some people might think that I was going to join my brother. They might say that I went to join my brother. What does that mean? Is it because we will inhabit the same dimension of non-existence, no less? And even if that isn't the case, how will we be joining each other any more than two people randomly dropped into two different countries on Earth? Who is to say we will be anywhere near to each other? Who is to say we would recognize each other in whatever embodiment we would be provided? If I know I have a friend somewhere in England, would it be proper to say I was joining him if I decided to cast myself into Great Britain? What would be the chance of me stumbling upon him and being reunited? I sip my drink. Who is right, Sartre or Wittgenstein? Is hell yourself or others? I was doing this because I felt like others were causing me pain, but I also felt like maybe my own mind and body were also working against me as my enemy. I guess it's a combination of both then. Isn't it? Maybe hell is everything. I take a seat on my throne. I was now a follower of Diogenes. I feel the urge to shit. I toss the crucifix and the shitter under me, baptizing Jesus, and drop my slacks. Taking a shit is a religious experience for me. If only I enjoy things going in my ass as much as I like them coming out, I'd be the gayest man in the world. I put the Roscoe to my temple. I should have eaten something today. I flushed the toilet, but the crucifix clogs the system up. This is the only time I have ever enjoyed a public restroom. It's so peaceful, with no one around to disturb me. If this were a video game, would I see a game over screen, or would this merely be the bad ending? I finish my soda. I think about standing under waterfalls, and standing next to a tree at the top of a hill in the middle of nowhere. The clock strikes midnight.
And it went.